Hey everybody, in this game I got to play the Scotch Gambit, which is really aggressive and really fun. e4, e5, we bring out our knights, and with this pawn push we're officially in the Scotch game. He takes, and I think a lot of times black expects I'm just going to recapture with the knight, he'll retake, I'll take back with the queen, at which point we'd be equal in material, but he can gain some tempos developing his pieces and pushing my queen out of the center. Instead, I hop my knight to g5, and when he tries to push it away, I sacrifice my knight here, threatening his queen and his rook. Most people will just capture with the king, and now he's up 3 full points in material, but his king doesn't really have any good exit squares here, and is very vulnerable and can no longer castle. I keep up the attacking momentum by developing my bishop, and when he blocks it with the pawn here, it doesn't really do much because I can just recapture, keeping the attacking up. And all he's ever really accomplished here is now he has opened up his bishop's diagonal, and he tries to block me there. At this point, I throw a check with my queen. You may be asking why I didn't throw the check here on f3. And the reason for that is if he blocks me like so, I can just retreat and do the same attack as before, but now these pawns are in a worse position than they were before. He blocks my attack with his knight, which looks like a strong move because it's theoretically attacking these two pieces, but it is still a pinned knight, so it's kind of limited in what it can do. I go ahead and exchange bishops, so I go ahead and castle. I'm kind of thinking I can eventually bring my rook to the e file, indirectly putting pressure on his king, or the d file, pinning this pawn and putting some indirect pressure on his queen. He instead attacks my queen, and I'm able to throw this double attack, throwing a check, but also attacking this vulnerable undefended pawn on b7. He scooches back, and rather than just capturing this pawn, because that's going to be there for me later, I throw this triple attack, where now I'm attacking the undefended pawn, also this undefended knight, and I'm throwing a check. He retreats here, at which point I happily grab the free knight, and while I was just down 3 points in material a second ago, now I'm up 1 point in material, and I've definitely got the initiative. He tries to kick me out here, but I want to keep my queen deep in the action. In case you're wondering why he doesn't just try and force a exchange of queens by pushing his queen to d7, that would leave his knight undefended, and then I would just grab another free 3 points of material. So instead, he retreats over here. His king, you could argue is safe, but I feel like it's really stunting this rook, which is not going to be able to do much in that position. So I push my pawn with the hope that he will take it back, and then I'll be able to develop my knight for free and start bringing it into a queenside attack. Instead, he does this mysterious pawn push that I don't understand, but I view it as instead of him taking here or pushing the pawn, he's given me the opportunity to take the center fully. He can't capture this pawn with his knight because it's covered by the queen. I'm hoping to eventually, on my next move, push this pawn to e5, hoping to fork these two pieces. He sees that coming though, so he hops his knight into a more aggressive position, but I still do the pawn push anyway because it stifles the bishop attack. At this stage, he gets really either aggressive or desperate with this queen move. Clearly, he's trying to threaten mate on my h2 pawn, but I'm not worried about that because I'm able to just develop my bishop the way I wanted to, and it nullifies this threat pretty cleanly. He pushes his pawn, trying to kick my bishop away from defending the h2 pawn checkmate, but that's a huge blunder because I can just scooch back here and I'm still defending against the checkmate, but now his queen is completely trapped. He's just blundered his queen away by cutting off his escape squares. His best bet at this stage is probably just exchanging his queen for my bishop to try and make up for how much material he's down, but instead he tries to attack my queen, and that's a game-losing blunder because now if I take my queen to g8, that's forced checkmate because he can only block it with the bishop, and then I can take back and then it's checkmate, or more directly I can just checkmate him as I do on e8. Anyway, I don't get to play the Scotch Gambit too often, so I thought I would share. Let me know in the comments section what you think of this opening and if you ever play it yourself. Thanks for watching, hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you all in the next one.